In a reimagined world where chaos reigns, gigantic bombs, each 1,000 times larger than humans, suddenly descended upon Earth. These colossal weapons unleashed devastation on an unprecedented scale, obliterating entire cities within moments, causing widespread panic. The death toll skyrocketed, with estimates reaching over 100 million lives lost in the first few days alone. Civilizations crumbled as infrastructure across continents was reduced to rubble, leaving behind a wasteland of ash and debris. Amidst the chaos, humanity's survival instincts ignited a fierce resistance against the giant bombs. Scientists and engineers scrambled tirelessly, creating makeshift defenses and weaponry in a desperate bid to fight back. However, the enormous size and power of the bombs made conventional tactics ineffective. Every attempt to disable them failed spectacularly. The bombs had a unique advantage. They could crush entire armies and wipe out vast territories instantly. In contrast, humans relied on technology, strategy, and resilience, but faced the enormous challenge of scale and speed. The war against these titanic weapons raged for months, leaving cities in ruins and ecosystems devastated. Survivors struggled to rebuild amid the ruins, with many living in makeshift shelters and relying on international aid. As the death toll climbed, some theorized that the bombs were an alien weapon unleashed upon Earth by an unknown civilization. Others believed they were a natural superweapon, a horrifying result of unchecked scientific experimentation. Despite the destruction, humanity's spirit and ingenuity persisted, inspiring some to envision a comeback. Yet, with each passing day, it became clearer that the giant bombs had the upper hand in this brutal war. Military forces launched countless attacks, but the bombs' immense size and destructive capacity rendered most efforts futile. Civilizations that once flourished were reduced to memories and ruins, their cultural heritages erased in a matter of hours. The natural world suffered immensely, with ecosystems decimated and wildlife wiped out in the blinding flashes of explosion. In some areas, the ground itself was scorched and melted by the intense heat and radiation emitted by the bombs. Scientists were baffled by the bombs' origin, unsure if they were natural phenomena or manufactured by an unknown species. The global economy collapsed under the weight of destruction, leaving nations impoverished and fractured. Humanity faced a stark choice: surrender to despair or fight for survival in an almost apocalyptic landscape. Amid the ruins, pockets of brave souls founded underground communities determined to preserve human life. Communication lines broke down and information about the extent of the damage spread through viral videos and leaked footage. These videos shocked the world, showing the scale of destruction and the horrifying power of the bombs. The viral videos sparked a worldwide debate. Could humans ever win against such overwhelming destruction? Many believed that the only hope lay in developing revolutionary technology capable of neutralizing the bomb's immense size. Others speculated that a new form of warfare, perhaps involving giant robots or AI-controlled defenses, was necessary. In the face of near-apocalyptic devastation, some visionary leaders called for global unity and a collective effort to rebuild. Yet, factions emerged, some advocating surrender, others insisting on resistance no matter the cost. As the war persisted, the Earth's surface bore scars, craters the size of cities, rivers turned to poisoned sludge. The once vibrant landscape was now a bleak tableau of destruction, reflecting humanity's desperate struggle for survival. Despite the odds, stories of heroism surfaced, individuals risking their lives to save others in the ruins. Viral stories of these acts of courage surged online, offering a glimmer of hope amidst the despair. Scientists continued searching for weaknesses in the bombs, analyzing their structure and shockwave patterns. Some believed the bombs had reactive cores that could be triggered to self-destruct, ending their reign of terror. Eventually, a daring plan was devised to deploy a massive electromagnetic pulse aimed at disabling the bomb's mechanisms. This plan required an international coalition and an unprecedented level of coordination and risk-taking. The day of the attack arrived, with the world watching as the pulse was unleashed in a spectacular display of science and courage. For a moment it seemed as if hope was slipping away, but then the bomb's explosion slowed and eventually ceased. The victory was bittersweet. Millions had perished, civilizations had fallen, and the earth was scarred forever. Yet humanity had survived against a seemingly invincible force, proving its resilience and unbreakable spirit. In the aftermath, efforts began to heal the wounds, to rebuild from the ashes, and to prevent such catastrophe from recurring. The viral stories of bravery, innovation, and unity reminded everyone of the thin line between despair and hope. Through devastating loss and extraordinary bravery, the world learned a vital lesson about the limits of destruction and the power of unity. In a reimagined world where giant squirrels, 1,000 times the size of humans, suddenly attacked Earth, chaos erupted across every continent. These colossal creatures, with razor-sharp claws and teeth the size of cars, devastated cities in minutes. The world was caught off guard as they swooped down from the skies, launching vicious attacks on human settlements. In the first week alone, over 5 million people lost their lives in the initial onslaught. Major civilizations crumbled as skyscrapers were toppled and entire populations were eradicated in moments. Governments scrambled to respond, but conventional weapons were utterly useless against such monstrous foes. Viral videos flooded the internet showing giant squirrels tearing apart landmarks and wreaking havoc in real time. The world's military strategically deployed tanks, aircrafts, and even nuclear devices in desperate attempts to halt the attack. However, the squirrels seemed almost invincible, immune to traditional weaponry and surgical strikes. Despite the brutal assaults, some resilience emerged among humans, spearheaded by elite forces and scientists. They theorized that the squirrels, being so enormous, had vulnerabilities in their eyes and joints which could be exploited. A global coalition was formed to develop specialized weapons targeting these weak spots. In the midst of destruction, tales of heroism and sacrifice spread, with many ordinary people risking their lives to save others. As weeks turned into months, millions more perished, and Earth's surface was scarred and unrecognizable. Civilizations fell, and governments collapsed under the weight of relentless attacks and mass casualties. The death toll skyrocketed to nearly 300 million worldwide, turning the planet into a battlefield of survival. Urban areas lay in ruins, with forests and rural regions suffering from collateral damage and collapse of ecosystems. The squirrels' attack was not just physical but psychological, creating widespread panic and despair. Humans, in their desperation, began building fortified bunkers and underground shelters to escape the chaos. Media reports went viral, showing footage of giant squirrels battling firefights with soldiers and destroying everything in sight. Scientists studied the creatures obsessively, trying to understand their biology and possible weaknesses. One theory suggested that their enormous size was an evolutionary response to environmental changes on Earth. The question among experts was, who would ultimately win this war, humans or these giant invaders? In today's times, humans had technological advantages but faced a nearly unstoppable enemy due to size and strength. Giant squirrels could crush tanks with their paws and bite through concrete walls without breaking a sweat. Humans relied on drones, robotic weapons, and coordinated strikes, but the squirrels often outflanked them with agility. Despite their technological superiority, humans faced a grim reality. The squirrels' durability and raw strength gave them the upper hand. Every day brought new battles, with cities lost and millions more casualties reported worldwide. The death count continued to rise exponentially, nearing 1 billion as the war dragged on for over a year. Global economies collapsed and entire nations were reduced to ruins, making rebuilding nearly impossible. The damage inflicted was not only physical but also environmental, with forests obliterated and wildlife decimated. A viral video showed a squirrel tearing apart a nuclear missile silo, rendering it useless in the fight. People questioned whether humanity could ever reclaim its world from these giant forest monsters. Some conspiracy theories spread, claiming the squirrels were a result of secret experiments gone wrong. Others believed they were divine punishment for careless environmental destruction over centuries. In the face of such adversity, hope flickered among survivors who refused to give up. In a world reimagined, giant raccoons, scaled up to 1,000 times the size of humans, suddenly revealed themselves from the shadows. The day they emerged marked the beginning of an unprecedented disaster that shook the very foundation of civilization. These colossal creatures with glowing eyes and razor-sharp claws began their assault on Earth, causing chaos on an unimaginable scale. Cities crumbled under their massive paws, buildings turned to dust, and millions of lives were disrupted in seconds. The death toll rapidly climbed into the hundreds of thousands as governments scrambled to respond to the invasion. Despite their adorable appearance when small, the giant raccoons proved to be brutal predators, wielding destructive strength beyond human comprehension. Rescue operations were overwhelmed, entire neighborhoods annihilated under the chaos of this new species. Humans tried to fight back with weapons, but conventional armies were powerless against creatures so enormous and resilient. Scientists feared that the raccoons' intelligence might surpass that of humans, given their adaptability and cunning, which only intensified the threat. The global economy collapsing as trade routes vanished, and massive infrastructural damages left the planet scarred. Survivors took refuge in underground bunkers, hoping to outlive the onslaught that seemed unstoppable. The death count soared past 1 million within the first month, with countless more injured and displaced. Civilizations around the world struggled to piece together any effective counterattack. Desperation grew as hope waned. Some communities attempted to build walls and fortifications, but even the strongest defenses proved futile against their overwhelming size and ferocity. The giant raccoons demonstrated an extraordinary ability to adapt, learning to manipulate human technology and even opening doors and vehicles. Rumors spread that they were motivated by curiosity, primal instincts, or perhaps something far more sinister, a quest to reclaim Earth. Amidst the destruction, a few brave scientists hypothesized that the raccoons might be responding to human encroachment or environmental destruction. As the death toll reached into the millions, humanity's unity was forced to strengthen, forging alliances across borders to survive. Military strategists devised new tactics, including massive aerial bombardments and innovative use of high-frequency sound waves aimed at disorienting the creatures. Despite these efforts, many raccoons proved resilient, shrugging off attacks and retaliating with even greater fury. The damage to civilization was staggering. Cities reduced to rubble, ecosystems devastated, and a new era of fear dawned. Environmental collapse triggered ecological shifts, endangering countless other species and further destabilizing the planet. In this chaos, stories emerged of individuals fighting against impossible odds, their resilience inspiring a flicker of hope. The global death count neared 10 million, and the planet seemed teetering on the brink of extinction. People began to question whether the raccoons were savages or misunderstood beings reacting to human misconduct. A few experiments suggested that perhaps the raccoons could be reasoned with or even domesticated, an idea that was met with cautious optimism. Yet, as the war dragged on, the question remained, could humans win against such colossal predators, or were they doomed to fade into history? The tide of battle shifted multiple times, with some days marked by devastating losses for humanity and others by accidental victories. The raccoons' unpredictable behavior kept humans on edge, making every encounter a matter of life and death. In the midst of despair, human resilience sparked innovative solutions: walking mechs, laser defenses, and bioengineered weapons. Yet each new attempt only showed how insurmountable the challenge was. The raccoons' sheer size and strength made them an unstoppable force. The damage inflicted was staggering. Entire continents scarred, seas disrupted, and the atmosphere stressed by constant warfare. The death toll surpassed 50 million as the planet's infrastructure disintegrated, leaving humanity scattered and desperate. Some said this was the end of civilization as we knew it, a cataclysmic event rewriting Earth's history forever. Yet even in such darkness, a flicker of hope remained, an underground resistance dedicated to finding a way to stave off complete annihilation. Scientists speculated that if they could develop a virus or a biological agent tailored to raccoons' anatomy, there might be a chance to turn the tide. The question was, would humans manage to adapt quickly enough, or would the giant raccoons rule the planet 1,000 times over? As the conflict stretched for months, the losses grew deeper, but so did humanity's determination to survive against all odds. This battle of titans was a stark reminder of nature's unpredictability and the fragility of human civilization. In this reimagined world, victory seemed elusive, but hope persisted in every act of courage and innovation. The war against the giant raccoons was not just about survival, but about reclaiming Earth from a terrifying new reality.